Hi guys, how we doing today? Beautiful day here today. Cleaning the buggy out, getting ready for spring grazing. The cows are back out on pasture, stockpiled pasture. Giving me a little bit of troubles with it. They'd much rather have their hay than eat stockpile. For some reason, they're just giving me a bunch of guff about it, but they're out there getting her done and readjusting. Clean the buggy out. I've had a lot of questions from you guys that, you know, how do you set your buggy up and what are you carrying in your buggy? My buggy is very efficient, and I know where everything's at. I put everything back the same way every time, so whenever we go to take stuff out of it, we know exactly where it's at, and it's very easily accessible. I carry several different fence posts. These here are the new fence posts that I made, the stainless steel step ins. These here are the plastic O'Brien posts we use, and we have our fiberglass posts that we use for on ends and corners and temporary fencing. And we carry grazing stick. It's a good tool for estimating forage yields. We don't use it as much as we used to, but we still use it from time to time. And then we have some 3/8 round bar that we use for ends and corners on a temporary fencing as well. And of course we have our spade shovel. The spade shovel, we use it a lot for cleaning. We have a lot of water bars on the farm, the field roads and stuff. We have water bars across those to help keep from eroding. So we keep the spade shovel, and of course we use it to dig in the soil and see what we can find for soil life. And then we have our mineral bucket, and then I have a straight hitch, and I have a ball hitch. And you can see the ball hitch is all set up so it fence jumps. Before I put all that on, the fence would either catch here or here, so we set that up. It works as a fence jumper as well, so we don't need to worry about our fences. The oldest hose reel will hold about 500 feet. It was a hose reel that was on wheels that we bought many years ago, and I've pretty much completely rebuilt it except for the part that holds the hose on, and then these rings here. I put 1-inch pillow block bearings on it, and then last year the piping that held the hose reel up off vibrated and broke, and so I made a new bracket to hold that. And then in our basket here we have some Plossin hookups on our above ground water line. Screw-on insulators. We have some interior fence that we still have screw-on insulators on. At some point we're going to switch those all out to the 4-inch fin tubes, but until then I got to carry these. If a deer happens to get into the field, they like to tear those screw-on insulators off. We carry a whole bunch of these. Whenever we're fencing across the field, we come to a hydrant and we fence those hydrants out, because our cows like to turn them hydrants on, or they like to use them as rubbing posts, and it's a potential for breakage or having to replace a hydrant, which is not a fun job to do. And then I carry half a dozen inline valves for the garden hose. I like these aluminum ones because they're a full flow valve. The brass ones, they choke them down. I think you can only get about 4 gallons per minute out of the brass ones. Then I carry one of these. This here's just a Y. Sometimes if we're grazing and the cows get with the horses, they need to share a hydrant, so we have to put a splitter in. Hose sprayer to wash the buggy, and you can notice that I haven't been able to wash the buggy. It seems like if I wash the buggy this time of year, my cables and stuff freeze up. Carry some extra rope, and then a scrub brush to scrub the tubs out if necessary. Our slow moving vehicle sign. Up here you can see we have a work light, an LED bar work light that we use occasionally. We don't use as much as we used to. If we're out at night and we need to fix something or whatever, we can turn that on, and that lights this whole back end of the buggy up and we can see what we're doing. I went to a tarp shop and they made that for me. A rear window for the buggy that really cuts down on the wind that blows through the buggy, and then I have doors. This cute little gadget here is used for reeling up mini reels. Just put that on there and we can reel up our mini reels. It's remote controlled. This buggy's kind of like a office or a shop on wheels. Whenever I go to the field, I expect to have everything that I need or anything I possibly could need. Because one of the things that really yanks my chain is if I have to come back, because it takes a lot of extra time to come back to get parts or stuff that we need. And that hose on there, I forgot to mention, when we put the hose on there, we put the male end on first and then we put a cap on it. And then our female end is accessible whenever we can go into a pasture field. If we have like 600 feet of garden hose on there, we may run 400 feet of that off of there. And we just took it onto the hydrant and drive away from the hydrant. And then we go to where we need to, and then we'll break the hose. We carry 2 toolboxes. And then like a supply box. Here's the supply box. We keep gate hooks in there. There's a frost miser. There's an extra valve, an extra bull-nosed insulator. This here's a stainless steel pipe clamp. It's pretty much about all. There's some string and different things in there. Carry that with us. Don't use that much. And then this box here in the top are clips for the mini reels. There's a couple hose washers in here, and here's the garden hose caps. We keep some fuses for our remote controlled stuff. Keep all our hose stuff in. We keep multiple hose washers in here. This here's a valve filter. These here are pH test strips. If we're wanting to know if our livestock are getting enough protein, we can check the pH in our urine. If it tests 7.0, they're getting enough protein. If it tests below, they're not getting enough protein. If it tests above, they're getting too much protein. Some more paracord. I don't know what that's doing in there. I don't need it. Then I have these twist-on 4-inch fin tube insulators. If we get a bad spot in the exterior fence or our high tensile fence, we can just twist these on and staple them on, because occasionally a deer will get in them and they'll bust the fin tube insulator. Of course, we keep some staples, some screws, fast lock, some replacement garden hose ends, staple driver, 1/2-inch pin, garden hose coupler, a male and a female. Some of my hosing setup, somehow or another I got the wrong ends on where they should be, so I end up occasionally using these. I don't have to use them all the time. And then I have a livestock marker. It works good if you need to mark trees or something out in the field. This here is my wire hose clamp tool and some wire hose clamps. These here are wire pieces to put the 4-inch fin tubes on with. Water pressure gauge. This here's a water meter to see how much water your livestock are using. We'll put that on if we see that there's a high spike, just to make sure the livestock are getting what they need for water. Teflon tape, an extra fence tester, and there's a rag, a pair of gloves, and here's some orange flagging. That's what we keep in that box. We'll put these boxes in place up here so you can see how we got them set up. This little cap is used to pound the fiberglass fence posts in. 5/8 pins for my hitches on the buggy, front and back. Tools, adjustable jaw wrench, slip joint pliers, probably the most used tools that I have, that I keep in the buggy. A tape measure, flat screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, vice grip, steel nose pliers. Here's another screwdriver, pruners, just in case we get some little limbs or something on the fence, we can cut them off easily. Bolt cutters, fence pliers, side cuts, 1/4" nut driver, pipe wrench, adjust the ratchets on your high tensile fence, chainsaw wrench, and a putty knife. That's what we keep in those toolboxes. Here's another hose end that we keep. Can't forget my jar of rocks. I keep a jar of rocks in there. Try and keep the geese off our pond. They're pretty destructive and can cause a health risk to the livestock. Well, I got my toolboxes and stuff set in there. These toolboxes are really accessible, easily to get to. Now for the rest of the baskets, this is Toby's fetch stick. He's had that stick for 3 years. This here's Scouts. They have their favorites, and of course carry a hammer all the time. Corn knife, it works well for cutting trees off the fence. It's amazing how big a tree that little corn knife will cut. 3/4" pin. And then these two tools here are used to hook onto the garden hose. A lot of times I won't spool it up if I'm going to be on the same farm with it. I just hook it into the, just hook the garden hose into the hook like that, and then we'll hook it onto the ball and drag it to wherever we need to go. That's pretty much the back of the buggy. Now let's take a look up front. 22, I carry 22 with me all the time. Here's the windshield wiper switch, and then this here's the LED bar. A lead rope and a horse halter with me at all times, because we occasionally may have to bring a horse back, or may need to work on it out in the field, who knows. Keep a rag, flashlight, bird shot for the 22, standard velocity shells for the 22, SD card, extra clip, putty knives. That's for checking the depth of your seed. If you're planting any seed, there's a bunch of pens, soil thermometer, sunglasses, keys for all the gates and the houses, all the neighbors' houses. I think I got about 3 or 4 keys on there for the neighbors' houses. Fence tester, I use that quite a little bit. Here's the remote control for the winch on the square bale handler. These here are 2 remotes to operate the fence reel winder, and then this remote here's to operate the seed broadcaster we have. I carry a couple pieces of sheepskin with me. Makes those plastic seats nice and comfortable. In this little cubby hole, carry extra paper, an extra fence or a cell phone charger, SWAT for on the horses around our eyes, just in case we get a bunch of flies, extra pair of binoculars, hat just in case my ears get cold, and of course extra gloves. You can't have enough gloves, right? And of course all the switches we have. 4-wheel drive, the defroster. This here's my defroster. It's going to come out here pretty soon. headlights, my Sasquatch lights, and then my rear accessory plug. I didn't show you that. We have a rear accessory plug right here. That's where we hook our square bale handler up. If anything else that comes along that we're going to need electric for, we can hook into that, and we can use up to 50 amps on that, I believe. My payout for my mini reels, just hook that on there, and then we can just buzz right along. Eventually, up with those round ring that I put on here, I'm gonna build some sort of a bracket to hold my posts, and I just slide my posts off and stick them into the ground. We have some extra lights. The John Deere Gator lights, they aren't worth having. I did put LEDs in there. It helps extremely well. On the front of it, this is an LED light bar, and then here's some more LEDs that we put on. I think we got lots of lights we can see well. But probably one of the best things that we did for this side-by-side is this here's our fence jumper. We run over our temporary fencing with this, because it hits probably right in here someplace. It slides down, catches on the wheels, and slides out the back, and we don't have to put no fences down. And in the summertime when we're tagging calves, I'll keep a calf tagging box here, and my basket up front here will hold 16 mini reels. And some days I won't have any mini reels in there, and other days I'll have 20 some mini reels in there. This little box here holds our electronic gadgets that we have hooked up. You can see there's quite a bit in there. Okay friends, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you would, please subscribe to the channel. We're still seeing statistics showing that we're about 75% of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel. It really helps the channel out when it comes to the search algorithms and stuff on YouTube, and it actually encourages me to want to produce more videos, because believe it or not, there's a lot of time involved into these videos. The step-in fence post video alone, I have 13 hours invested. So please subscribe, comment, show me you like the videos. Hopefully you had a good week. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.